So, welcome to our pick a card reading. Today, we're going to be doing a mystery message from Spirit. I felt drawn to do a pick a card reading. I've been feeling drawn to do a pick a card reading for a while now because I've been looking for guidance and I just hadn't gotten around to it. But you know what? I was like, today, let me just go ahead and film it. And then I was thinking about what it would be. I knew I wanted it to just be I wanted it to be open, so some type of guidance. And then in my head, I was like, mystery message from Spirit. And I feel like that was Spirit giving me that message. So I'm just going to shuffle this deck and get you some cards to pick from. I'm not sure how many piles we're going to do. I think three or four piles. Ooh. Okay. So this is your first card. This is pile 1. The Star Maiden. Rest. That's pile 1. Pile 2, what is pile 2, Spirit? What's pile 2's card? What is pile 2's card? Uh-oh. For a minute, I was like, what if Spirit's being like, rest, and they're talking to me? But I don't think they are. Okay. Pile 2, what card is that? Oh, Cain, Life Force Energy. That's pile 2. Life Force Energy with Cain. Or Kane. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then this is pile 3. Ooh. Asclepios. Asclepios. Sacred Medicine. That's pile 3. Pile 3, Asclepios. Spirit, are we going to do 4 piles? I have like a wondering spirit in my question in my mind of like, are we going to do 4? I'll shuffle the deck 4 times, and if a card comes out within that time, then we'll do 4. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think we're okay. I kind of want to say we're doing 4. Okay, the fourth pile is watch your words. Ogma. That's your pile. Watch your words, Ogma. So pile 4, that's you. Pile 1, Star Maiden, rest. Pile 2, Cain, Life Force Energy, or Kane. Asclepios, Sacred Medicine, pile 3. And Ogma, Watch Your Words, pile 4. All right, and at the back of the deck for overall this energy, it's giving past life healing, Hecate. So that might be related to all of our messages. Anyways, let us begin with pile 1, Star Maiden. I'll put the sound things, the little timestamps in the description and in the comment section, so you can find that and go to your pile. Okay, toodaloo, see you later at your piles. And if you're pile 1, then hello and welcome. So, pile 1, very excited to do your reading. Hello, we are going to be receiving a mystery message from Spirit. And we're gonna actually start off with some rock divination. My little pile of rocks. Let me get them. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so this is my pile of rocks. And I've been using these to do rock divination for our zodiac readings. And I'm going to use that today. So Spirit, ancestors and spirit guides of pile 1, the people who are here to receive a message, a meeting, mating call. Let us know what is going on with pile 1's energy. What is their mystery message? What is the mystery message for pile 1? What is the mystery message? What is it? Okay. Wow, it's interesting that I wanted to spread it out like that. So give me a minute. I don't want that to affect me. Okay. For some reason, what I see, I have a very specific animal or creature in my mind as I'm looking at these rocks that I see. I also see 3 I guess you could see 4 different sections, but I was actually seeing 3. It's something ancient. So what I'm seeing is some type of dinosaur. It's some type of dinosaur, and I see it, but it's kind of like an amphibian, and it's like moving like this, like across like a layout of grass, like out in nature or something like that, and it's just moving this way. But it's some type of ancient energy, some type of dinosaur, and it's quite unbothered. I don't know why that's the first message that's coming out. But this is your mystery message from Spirit. So Spirit, speak to us, speak to Pile 1 and let us know what is going on. What are we meant to receive? Inching towards the past in search of what? Of eggs, of golden eggs. Okay, so Pile 1, there is something. Oh my God, this is the face of the dinosaur that I saw. It's the Emperor. This is the face of the dinosaur that I saw. It was like this. But then the body was like kind of like an amphibian. I don't know if amphibian is even the right word. I actually don't even think it is. I am just thinking of, you know, those animals with like the long nose, and they kind of have like a scale that's not like a snake scale, but like almost like wrinkles, and it's not long nose like this, and it's like brown, maybe even like really dark green, and it's kind of got a cute like roly-poly body, but then it's got that long nose. It's kind of like that, but long and drawn out and like ancient, like a dinosaur. Anyways, the animal doesn't matter. I don't think the animal matters that much. The point is that I was feeling from Spirit this energy of inching towards the past in search of like golden eggs, in search of things that you, almost like little Easter eggs that your spirit, your soul, perhaps even your soul team has left for you in the past. Oh my God, I know exactly what this is. So, okay, we go through life, and it's funny because it is going backwards. So we're usually going through life and we're moving forwards. We're always trying to move forward, right? And sometimes we have to veer off of the path that we were on, the path that we thought actually was going to be our life. I'll give you a personal example. A year and a half ago, I dropped out of university. I wasn't sure how long it was going to be. At that point, I was like, I'm just taking the semester off and then I'll come back. And then semester passed, summer, I didn't do any courses. Fall came, I didn't do any courses. Now here I am a year and a half later, a year later actually, because this is, I took off winter semester last year. So it's been a year and I'm not doing any courses. And this actually early February, I had kind of decided that I was not going back to university. And I was like, I'm done, like it's over. I had signed up to do this abroad program. I canceled it. I was like, I'm not going back. Now, recently, as of literally today, I've decided I'm going back because I have one more semester to complete. And after that, I actually want to extend and do more schooling. So, but I would not have gotten to this. First of all, I had to veer off of my path. So it's this energy of there's something that you walked away from a long time ago. What feels like a long time ago, though it could have been just a year ago, like me. I don't even know what time is anymore. I thought that was 2 years ago, a year and a half. It's only been a year. So there's something that you had to leave behind a year ago or later, or maybe more recently. Time doesn't matter. Something you left behind in the past. You were on a path, and it was something that was meaningful. It was something that had to do with your foundation of how you saw yourself. Especially with this dinosaur and the way I was so like hell-bent on describing it, it's something that had a lot to do with your self-perception. So walking away from this path kind of created the perfect recipe for like an ego death, or for you to go into shadow work, for you to begin a dark night of the soul, because you had to question who you were and who you wanted to be and what meant something to you once you were off this path, because this thing that you were aligned with, that you were walking with, that you were working with, it was an energy that crafted so much of who you were, so much of how you existed in the world. Leaving that behind left a lot of empty space for you to then begin to look into the shadow, look into the darkness, look into what's been hiding, what wants to come up but hasn't had the room because so much of you was being filled by this thing. So it's something that you left. And you might have left on good terms, you might have left on shaky terms, you might have made a whole bunch of decisions to never go back or have been open to going back, but there's this energy of like turning around now. And you know what? It's interesting because I feel like you as a person, as an incarnating being, were leaving this path and you were not quite sure what was going to happen. I think that you were open to any possibility, open to it ending for real, and never showing up in your life again, or open to possibly going back. I think that you as a person were in a state of the unknown, truly, surrounded by darkness and not sure of how your life was going to look in the next few years, of whether this thing would be a part of it or not. But your soul has this mother energy where it's like, you know, when a mother leaves the nest where her eggs are, where her babies are. I'm thinking of like an eagle or something like that. Even with this, I'm thinking, do dinosaurs lay eggs? I don't know why a dinosaur is such a prevalent thing to me right now, but it's this energy of, it's like this, because I think it's a land creature, it's a mother, it's a mammal, it's that kind of energy. It's important. I don't know why. But they left their nest, right? They left their eggs. Your soul understood that they were leaving something behind, but for your soul, they were not leaving this and never coming back. It was like, I'm going out because I need to go find food. I need to go find sustenance. I need to go find something to feed this, to help this nourish and grow, because what we have just between us is not enough. Your soul understood that you were going to have to leave this thing, trust that it would stay there, trust that it would be okay, trust that whatever happened between the time that you left and came back would be what happened, but ultimately it would be okay, because you needed to go do something on your own, separate from this thing. You needed to go work your own magic, trust who you are. You needed to evolve. You needed to expand. So as a soul, you knew that you were going to be coming back to this. As a person, I'm not quite sure that you did. I think that this could show up as a surprise in coming back into your life, especially with, you know, the example that I just gave. Like, it could be a real surprise because you might have just made a solid like X decision on this thing, and now all of a sudden you might be feeling a wave of like, wait a minute, I actually want to turn around. I want to turn back. And what this is it's also an energy of really trusting your gut and really being the leader in your own world, in your own life, in your own decisions. Because we have a lot of narratives that circle around past energy, which is why I think Hecate is here guiding over this reading as a whole. I actually think this might be mystery messages also from Hecate, because she is out here and she's the guardian of past lives, which means she's also the guardian of past energy, of darkness energy. And especially within spiritual communities, you know, the narrative around the past is that you always want to move forward. You want to leave the past in the past. You really try not to go backwards. We have a few cups in the cards in the tarot, like the Six of Cups, that talks about nostalgia and reconciliation with the past and things like that. But usually the narrative is you leave the past where it is. You don't turn back, you know. But it's funny because Bahati Life, she's a reader here on YouTube that I really love, she's talking about growth and how growth happens no matter what. Grow in this direction, grow in that direction, grow this way, grow that way. Growth happens no matter what. And there's not a one size fits all for what is, there's not a perfect definition for what growth is. It's not a singular defining experience. So you turning back around towards this thing that you thought that you had let go of, you thought that you had said goodbye to, it is a sign. It is still a sign of positive growth, even though you're moving backwards, because ultimately it's not you moving backwards. Who you are in the time that you left and now are coming back are completely different people. I think that's why I was thinking of amphibians, because is it amphibians that shed their skin? I'm thinking of now like a snake. That's why I think I was thinking of scales and everything, because it's like you are still you. It's your soul that's carrying you, so you're you, but who you are as a person is not the same, which is why you leaving these things behind did not know you if you would come back. because you didn't know that you would be the same. You didn't know who you were going to be in this future. And now who you are in this present moment is not at all who you were when you left these things. So your reconnection with these Easter eggs, these golden eggs, it kind of feels like, these gifts for you that were sitting for you, waiting for you to return in the past. But I don't even want to label it that, because it's not the past. It's now your future. It's actually now you moving towards your future. But look at how things shift simply through your own evolution. You know, this is really about focusing in on how you've evolved and how your personal evolution changes what can be determined as the past, as the future, as the present, and changes meaning. You define success. You define what's meaningful. You define what's growth for yourself. You define what it means to turn back, what it means to go backwards, what it means to go to the past, what it means to evolve, because you re-entering into this space, into this relationship with these things that you had at one point left behind. It is a joyful celebration to be back into union with these energies, because you're understanding that there's going to be a completely different experience of them this time around. And even if it wasn't negative in the first, oh my God, I thought that was like a leopard or something. Sorry. Even if it wasn't negative in your first experience with them, it doesn't mean that it still doesn't mean anything. It's going to be a different experience this time around. You have evolved in ways that you just can't have the same relationship, the same dynamic. You know, when I go back to school, it'll be a different experience being a student, you know. I won't be the same. I'll have different focuses. I have different expectations now, and sometimes I have no expectations, you know. You have to trust in your evolution and in your own change. Trust that what you've gone to go out, what made you leave in the first place, what was driving you out of this relationship to go seek something, trust that what you've brought back is what that past you needed you to go get. Trust that you've done the work that you needed to do to come back and help nourish these gifts, help crack open these eggs, help receive your blessings, help receive your new path, information, your guidance, because you have done the work, which is the only reason why this thing would be coming back around now. The important thing to keep in mind, though, is that there's a deep resonance with this, with whatever it is that's showing up, in a way that is not, in a way that feeds like your nurturing spirit, in a way that feeds even like your sacral chakra. It's important to understand, because many things from the past come up again and again. It's important that you use your discernment to recognize what is yours versus what is just something from the past, you know, coming up to say hello. It's important to recognize your past from your present, right? Because especially if it's operating in the same sphere when it comes to timing, and you know how time is so elusive. So let's say you left behind school like me a year and a half ago, and perhaps you also left behind a friendship group. If both those things come back at the same time, it's important to recognize which one is actually your present coming to welcome you in, and which one is actually just the past showing up again. You know what I mean? Use your discernment. And the way that you'll be able to recognize this is that I think that you're going to be stimulated by this connection creatively. I think you're going to be stimulated by this connection in your sacral chakra. The energy of Kadesh, of sexual wisdom, is an energy that has been following the entire collective. And I feel that stimulation in your creativity, in that energy, that kind of life force energy, and that sexual wisdom, in your sacral energy, is where we are going to find our magic. It's where you're going to find your luck. Whenever you feel a tug there in your gut, whenever you feel that part of you activated, it's a sign that that is exactly where you're supposed to be going towards. And so that is going to be a major way to recognize your golden eggs versus some bones from the past. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to sense it. You're going to be able to feel it in your gut. Yeah, but it's funny because the way you're coming back is so evolved. It feels like you have really aged. You've aged like fine wine, but you've really aged since you were first in connection with these things, you know? The last time they saw you, it feels like you were just a kid. You were just a baby, you know. You hadn't yet really understood life and not really understood yourself in your relationship with life. It's kind of like you had just been led, you know, you had just been guided. But it feels like you've gone through these past few years or this past period of time, a real like independence, a spirit experience of independence, of having to kind of be on your own and figure it out and learn how to do this life, how to navigate, how to survive, and not just survive but thrive. And through that experience, you began to understand yourself more and more. And now, when you're coming back with wisdom. You're coming back the sage. You're coming back the mage. But it's kind of giving me like crone energy again with Hecate coming here. It's kind of giving me that crone energy, even the mother energy actually, especially because the mother energy is very strong, especially in the pull out. It's funny because we think of mothers and sometimes it's that protective, guiding, you know, watching over energy that we associate. But at some point, a mother also has to learn how to let go. She has to learn to surrender to the fact that her children, her creations are going out into the world and to become their own thing, to become autonomous. And with this mother energy that you had, that was first awakened when you chose to leave the nest. It's funny, you're leaving the nest, but you're the mom. Usually the whole concept of leaving the nest, it's for the kids, it's for the creations. But you actually had to leave the nest to go out in search of, you know, survival things, sustenance. You had to go out to get something that would ultimately bring back and nourish these your creations, nourish these eggs, nourish these things that were not yet complete, that were not yet full, that were waiting for you. You kind of had to go through your own coming of age, your own puberty, I guess, your own challenge to test, you know, yes, you're this mother. Yes, you're this creator. Yes, you're this, you know, life form living through this world. But do you really have what it takes to go out there, be on your own, be independent, and do what you need to do to help yourself evolve, to survive in this world and create a space for yourself? And you've done that. And now you're coming back. And it's like you're actually quite close. I think that at this point, you'll see what it is that you need, what it is that you are welcoming back into your life. You're going to be able to see light in your path. You're no longer in the darkness. You shouldn't be in it much longer if you are still. If you're still in the unknown, I think your path is about to become very clear. And it's going to become very obvious to where you're moving towards. And it might shock you, especially because it's something that's quite familiar. There's this resonance. And there's this sense of making sure that you aren't judging yourself for the fact that this is a familiar thing that you're welcoming back. Sometimes, you know, there's a huge emphasis on the new. You know, it's all about, oh, new experiences, new places, new jobs, new careers, new friends, you know, all of this new stuff. And there's sometimes this judgment around the old, like I said, with this judgment around the past. And it can make you feel kind of crappy and like you haven't grown, like you haven't evolved, like you haven't done enough. If you find yourself revisiting old stories, if you find yourself revisiting, you know, the past. But the thing is, the richness, the magic, it lies in the ancient. It lies in our history. It lies in our ancestors. That's where our magic comes from. So when you're not afraid to welcome in past energy, when you're not afraid to go back, when you're not afraid to look at your history and embrace your history, embrace your ancestors, the ancestral energy of your own life, the ancestral energy of yourself, that's where you're going to dig deep and discover the real magic. Because most of the time, we're already on the path of what we're supposed to be doing. When you can spread out your life on a timeline and look at all of the things that you've done, you'll find that things will probably be quite similar. In one way or another, they will all connect to each other because we're usually already doing what we're supposed to be doing. But sometimes we have to quirk it a little bit. We have to edit. We have to pivot. But ultimately, we usually tend to come back to this same root meaning, this same center of being. And this is that kind of energy where you're finding yourself, it may feel like a little bit of a turnaround, but really it's a whole new path. It's an evolved, it's an extension, it's an ascended level of this thing that you have met before, right? And you're coming back to face it and coming back to welcome it in and receive these gifts that your past self left waiting for you. Like, you have to really, really experience and embrace these gifts that come back with gratitude, because your past self was so brave as to leave this behind and trust that somehow, somewhere, some way they were going to end up in a good position, not sure if they were ever going to see this again, not sure what was going to come of their life, but they just went out and took a leap of faith anyways. And now here you find your gifts waiting for you. Here you find this ancient, beautiful energy that is filled with gifts and abundance for you. You coming back wiser than ever, knowing how to handle this energy, because there was a aspect of that past self of you knowing that they did not completely understand how to handle this. We're not completely sure how to navigate this. And now here you come, and you're ready to fully embrace this energy and grow it and nourish it in a way that will help it evolve into its highest and greatest self, and really, really reach into all of its potential, unpack all of the possibilities, because you've unpacked your potential and you're reaching into all of your abilities and possibilities. Because you chose to leave the nest, you chose to trust, you chose to surrender to the call of the universe and go out and leave the thing that you really cared about and that made you feel safe and that made you feel comfortable and that secured your path or made you feel like you were on a successful wave, or, just gave you some type of stability, some type of assurance. You chose to leave all that, not knowing what was going to happen. Your soul knew. Your soul always knew, because for your soul, it was like it was like a mother leaving its child. It was going to come back. But for you, you didn't know. And you did it anyways. The bravery that you have, the wisdom that you now have, that you wouldn't have gotten if you hadn't taken that chance. So as you walk back towards this thing, hold your head up with pride and welcome it with pride and choose to see it with new eyes. Understand that there is the ancestry within this, that there is an ancient energy within this, but this is also something new because you're new. And allow yourself, your interpretation of it and your perspectives on it to evolve too, to match who you are now, to match what it means now, what possibilities it has now. Because in that time that you were gone, it also changed. It also expanded into having more potential. There's so much unknown within it now. There's so much darkness, rich darkness energy within it now, because it's been left alone. It's been left unwatched, unseen. It's in the unseen that magic grows. It's when you let something just be, when you're not watching over it like a hawk, that it begins to really flourish. You're not going to really totally recognize this experience. You may know it by name, you may know it by touch or something like that, but it's going to be completely different. And allow it to be completely different. Don't try to pretend as if you completely understand what this is, because you don't, and you don't want to. You have already experienced the beauty of the unknown, so allow that beauty to extend into the past. You don't know all of the past, no matter how we try to make it seem like we do. We don't. We could never. History within itself is all about the unknown. It's all about darkness. Ancestors are all about the fact that they carry so much of the unknown within them, even though they're the past, which is, supposed to be known. So let yourself be carried by this potential, by this possibility, and go towards this familiar, this resonant gift, Easter egg, golden eggs waiting for you, and begin your new experience with joy and openness and vulnerability. Okay, that's crazy. That was like 30 minutes of a message. just from the rocks. Just from the rock divination. And I'll give you another example. Like, so I left school, right, a year ago. I'm trying to add on extra time. It's just been a year. And in that time, I learned how to read tarot. In that time, I traveled. In that time, I went to an ashram. I lived there for 2 months. In that time, I learned how to do bone readings and rock divination readings. I learned about astrology and birth and how to make past life birth charts. I launched my own business. Like, I grew. I started doing music production. I'm not the same person. If I had just continued on with this thing and never left, I would have missed out on so many gifts that I have, so many incredible experiences. This is what I needed to bring back to school so that I could actually know what I wanted to study and do and how I wanted to use my gifts to help the world. So there's this go ahead, look back at the past, however long it's been between when you left this thing, when it shows itself to you. And it might be multiple things, so just be prepared for a bunch of things to be coming back and make sure that they resonate. Use your discernment. But then look at the time that it's been between when you left these things and who you are now. And look at all of the gifts that you've been given. Look at all the things that you've discovered about yourself. Make a list. Because it's really important that you recognize how much you've grown. It's really important that you recognize the value of you having left and gone on this side road, gone on this, gone and pivoted and had this random new experience. It's really important that you embrace change. It's really important that you gave yourself a chance to have a new experience. So I would really go and I would look over all of that. Because you want to solidify that change is good. You want to solidify that trusting in the unknown and taking leaps of faith, they're good things. You want to solidify that you have wisdom, incredible wisdom that you've gained through this risk that your past self took, this chance that they took. And it will also help you build a really strong and loving and compassionate relationship with your past. Because a lot of the time, we can look at our past and we look at them, our past selves, and we feel insecure about them. And we feel, sad about who they were. Or we pity them, or we feel resentful towards them, or like they weren't good enough. And all of these feelings come up around our past selves that make us feel ashamed or make us feel less than. But it's our past selves who've done all the work, the hard work that they had to do of taking chances, of trusting, of just going for things, of embarrassing themselves, of being humiliated and feeling sad and depressed and anxious and surviving anyways in order to get us to all of these evolved states that we end up existing within. And so this, this journey of looking into the strength and the bravery that it took for you to take that leap of faith that you already took, it will also help you acknowledge and begin to see the bravery and the strength within yourself, within your past self, within your ancestry. And it will just build this confidence that is very much so needed. Because you're coming back a sage. Literally, wiser than ever. Look at that, the Fool. I'm telling you, you took such a leap of faith back then. And it's a leap of faith now to go back. It's a leap of faith now. It's a risk now. It takes courage now, because now you're in this place where you're like, well, does that mean that I'm going back towards the past? Does that mean that I'm giving up who I am now? Does that mean that I'm going to lose aspects of this newness? And no, it doesn't mean any of that. But anxiety can come in and make us feel weird about doing something that feels good and doing something that is good for ourselves. And either way, you're merging. This is a union of selves, because you are merging with your past self, because you're at this point again. Life is a spiral, right? So we go around and we go closer and we closer, but ultimately we're having these same experiences. Like I was saying about that timeline, you're always kind of on the same path. You're having these same experiences, but you get closer and closer to the root of it, to the meaning of it. And it's like this again, where now you're back at this leap of faith in this point of trusting, though this time you have a little bit more awareness. You can see a little bit more, right? So it's not complete and total darkness, but there's still things that might want to try and hold you back, keep you grounded in where you are. But you're kind of like, no, I've completed this cycle of being in this new state, and now I'm going to go revisit this energy, but from a completely different experience, which is why it's the number 0. It's the Fool again, because it's going to be something completely new. The clouds are breaking apart. This is a new sky, a new sun, a new day for you. And this is also a reunion with your past self. They took this leap of faith, and now you are here again, meeting them again and going into this leap of faith energy and reuniting with these gifts that are here and are waiting for you. Don't overthink it. Oh, look at what's at the back. 6 of Cups. Literally the one card that really talks about like reunion with the past in a really great way. It's a very positive card when it talks about the past. It can be nostalgic, it can talk about childhood, but I just see it as you allowing yourself to be released back into this energy, understanding that it's not going to be the same, and good. There's such a goodness with change. There's such a good positive energy associated with it. And you know that because look at how you've changed. And not to say that there was anything wrong with you in the first place, but just to say that you like change, you love change, you know that it's good for you. And your past self understood that. Something about them called them forth in towards this energy of shifting, of transformation, because they knew something powerful was going to happen. And it's funny that this is happening. This message is coming through during Pisces season, especially because we're having Pisces and Saturn. Oh, it starts today. I didn't even realize, but yeah, Pisces and Saturn starts today, and it's the full moon in Virgo today, and there's just a lot of really powerful energy in the air. And it's just interesting that actually what's going to be grounding us is revisiting this energy, and not revisiting it just for a moment, but going back and picking up the pieces of what, we left behind, not we abandoned, but we left behind in search of other things, and now going to grab that and continue to move forward. And these things have become golden eggs. When you left them, they were just little seeds, and we weren't sure what they were going to end up becoming, and you weren't sure what to do with them, which is why you had to leave. But since you've gone, what you had to do with them was literally leave. That's what you had to do. As you were like, okay, well, I need to go out and, learn about myself, or I need to go have this new experience. I need to go be single. I need to go get a new job, try a new experience. I need to go travel. But really what your soul knew that it needed to do is that it needed to leave. It needed to leave these seeds, because the darkness what was going to turn it into a golden egg. It was what was going to grow it and nourish it. Allowing it's like it takes a village to raise a baby, right? It takes a village to raise a child. Your village is the universe. It's not just about you. You are not the only soul caretaker. That's why it's the triple moon goddess. It's not just one. It's why there's so many goddesses. There's not just one. So many gods. There's not just one. It requires many. There's 4 seasons, not just one. 4 elements, not just one. Many, many planets. 7 chakras, or 12. It can't possibly be just one. And the mother within you understood that part of being this nurturer, part of caring for my creations, caring for myself, is knowing when to let go and let God, or let go and let the universe, What they needed was not your presence over them, but the darkness, which is an extension of you. You are an extension of the darkness. It was you in a higher form watching over you. You never left, but you did. And you needed to. And you had to go have your own experiences, and it's so good that you did. Wow. It's a really beautiful reading. It's a very beautiful reading. It feels like you have crossed the threshold. It makes me think of babies and elders. That's why even with the dinosaur, it makes me think of an elder. Like, you have a very old energy. And not just like an old soul energy, but like even in this life, no matter how old you are, it feels like 60 plus is kind of the vibe, just because you're in this state where once you get past, like your 50s and you're past the middle point of your life, like my dad, he just turned 60. He turned 60 this year, and he's on his way down the mountain. He's gotten up. He reached the pinnacle, the halfway point, the peak, and he's on his way down. That doesn't mean that there's no life to live, But the journey up versus the journey down, those are mirrored experiences. So he's revisiting a past energy, an energy that's actually very similar to when he was a child, growing up, climbing up that mountain, when he was a teenager, climbing up. Right now, it's like he's receiving the past as well. He's receiving his ancestors as well. He's finding these golden eggs as well. But he's reaching them with a wisdom. He's reaching them as the sage. He understands that it took time and he had to go away and move beyond from this state of existence in order to come back and welcome it and truly honor it in its fullness. And it's that same type of energy for you. That's why I was feeling like you are the crone, even beyond the mother. You're the crone now because you are, and sorry, this is not like, it's not gender specific at all. But you know what I mean. Just when I was thinking about the maiden, the mother, and the crone, you're in that stage now, and you have so much wisdom, and there's just so much to be proud of. And it shows in you. It really, really does show. Wow. 2 tarot cards and just a bunch of rocks. Yeah, and that was right in between. That was right in between. Oh. And part of the thing that you're that might be a part of this experience is, a little bit of mourning, a little bit of grieving. Because sometimes we're like, wait a minute, I'm back here. I didn't think I was going to be back here. And then there's this energy of like, well, I wish I would have stayed. Oh, well, if I had known I was going to come back here, I would have never left. And blah, blah, blah. And so then sometimes anxiety can come in and make us feel like, well, did I just make a big mistake by going on this whole journey and taking this time off? And, all of these things by going away when I knew I was did I miss out? There's this like FOMO kicks in. It's like, what did I just do? Why did I just do all that if I was just going to end up back here? But the magician is coming here to show you exactly why. From the fool to the magician, it required a leap. From the fool to the magician, the fool can't see the magician. The magician can see the fool, right? Because from when you enter the magician state, you've opened your eyes, all of them. You can see now. You have tools now. The fool doesn't really have much, just that little sack. Just their own voice, just the ability to walk away and walk towards something and take a leap of faith. There's a huge canyon between that magician and that fool, right? So you had to move. You had to go. You had to let go. It was not going to work had you stayed. There is no, oh, well, I should have if I knew that this was going to be here, then I would have. No, there is no shoulda, coulda, woulda. There is no if. There is no, well, that energy is not a part of this because it was never going to be like that. It was never going to be that way. You had to leave. Okay, so if the anxiety starts to creep in around, well, oh my God, what are you doing here? What am I doing back here? Blah, blah, blah. Let it happen, let it flow, but don't let it overtake you because there's no point, You're something new. You're someone completely different. You've changed. You've changed, oh, for the better, yeah. You've changed, oh, for the better, yeah. You've changed, oh, for the better, yeah. You've changed, wow, for the better. There's also this energy of like where you're going now, especially if you've gone on a spiritual journey for the past few years, and that's however you define it. Everybody has. If you survived COVID, you've been on a spiritual journey ever since, however you want to describe it. But there's this energy of feeling like, part of like the energy of going back to the past can be this fear of like going back to like institutions or going back to the system, to the matrix, going back to traditions. And you're like, no, I'm free. I don't want to do that. You need to understand you could never go back to what life was like. It's like trying to say that you can go back to 2019. Impossible. You're never going to be able to go back to life before, you know, that huge apocalypse began, before this big apocalypse began. And you're never going to go back to these systems because you're not the same person. You're completely different. You have a completely different mindset. You've shifted like a gazillion times, a whole bunch of new paradigms, a whole new person. You've evolved. And there's magic waiting for you, though, in these golden eggs, I'm telling you. So if you're afraid that you're going to lose your freedom or lose the magic or lose these, you know, gifts that you've acquired on your way, on your journey, these new experiences and these perspectives, they're not going to be lost. They're going to help grow and nourish this garden and create a beautiful, magical oasis. It's not going to be lost. Cosmic knowledge, Merlin. Oh my God. Okay, so some of you might be going back to school. Oh, and we're about to move on to the next card reading. But cosmic knowledge, Merlin. Ooh, yes. Recognize, yes, beautiful change. Beautiful change. It's coming. Transformation. Transformation. Mission. I don't know why I felt the need to sing that, but it's so exciting. It's really, really, really exciting, and it's okay to be scared too. It's okay. It's okay. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Look, okay, I'm going to read you, Merlin. Merlin, cosmic knowledge. Magic is coming. Your answer is written in the stars. Star Maiden, that was your card. Merlin represents the magician, our last tarot card, the magician, the wizard, sage, and the wise one archetype, wisdom, and features in both Arthurian legend and medieval Welsh poetry. His specialty is divine alchemy, the transformation of heavy physical matter energies into higher vibration energies. Merlin uses the spiritual tools of a purple energy cloak and rainbow chakra wand to bring forward universal knowledge. Universal knowledge. He's a guardian of Avalon, the multidimensional realm connected mainly with sacred sites in Glastonbury, England. Drop everything you're wrestling with. Leave the mind struggles. Stop trying to figure it all out. Don't rely solely on 3D logic. You need to look beyond the physical and open your energy into the mystical forces that govern our universe. This is where your answer for healing lies, beyond the veil, in the constellations and transits of the planets, deep inside the mystery of the cosmos. Trust what comes up during Saturn and Pisces, and that's going to last a couple years. So this is like an energy, for real, that's solid in your life now. Trust what happens during Saturn and Pisces. Trust what comes up again. Trust what comes back again, okay? And this is not to say that everything that comes back you need to fully accept as like yours and a part of your present in your life. Like I said, use discernment and trust that you have discernment. Trust your intuition, that it's very strong. You have the magician and Merlin here. You're very intuitive, so trust that. You're now harnessing ancient wisdom from the Avalon mystery schools of Merlin. He taught metaphysical subjects such as alchemy, sacred geometry, astrology, divining, and energy healing. There was a vast cosmic library containing esoteric texts by divine scholars. Let Merlin help you remember your magical powers. Whatever you're seeking right now, your inner magician knows how to find it. Meditate and ask your third eye chakra to reveal what you need to know. You can visualize Merlin's rainbow light streaming from your chakras to heal yourself, a relationship, or a karmic issue. You're a wise soul with knowledge from other worlds. And those other worlds, past. They're the past. They're past lives. If you're a wise soul, it's because you've lived many times. And applying that to your incarnating life, you're wise because of your past, the past lives that you've lived in this current life. You're a wise soul with knowledge from other worlds. Trust the powers conferred by your purple cloak and crystal wand, given to you many moons ago by the supreme sorcerer Merlin. The alternative meanings are clear the energy with a person, place, or situation to experience immediate relief and resolution. Your life purpose involves using and teaching astrology, energy healing, chakra balancing, or magic. Study vortex healing, a holistic system of energetic healing from the Merlin lineage. Visit Glastonbury to reconnect with sacred sites of Avalon. And the invocation is, I call upon my deep magical powers. The universe is working with me in mysterious, miraculous ways. Yay! Okay. Thank you so much, Pile 1. You were an amazing reading. I really, really enjoyed reading with you. Earth Magic, Epona is here for you. I hope that everything that needed to resonate did resonate, and use your discernment and enjoy this path that you're on, this new but ancient and old path. It is fantabulous. Okay, so bye. Moving on to pile 2. What time is it? Okay. Let us do, hold on. Okay. Now, pile 2, pile 2, pile 2. Pile 2, pile 2, pile 2, pile 2, pile 2, pile 2. What is that? Na 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 na. Oh, dream, 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 dream. Da 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 da. Darkness in the air. Dream, 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 dream. That's so funny. Why did that come into my head? That's so random. That's Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and they're in the dream world. Do you guys remember that song? With Taylor Lautner and what's her name? Alexa Vega. Dream, 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 dream. Da 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 da. Darkness in the air. Dream, 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 dream. So hi, pile 2. We're gonna be doing your reading, your mystery message from Spirit, and also we're gonna say Hecate. She's watching over this, so the goddess Hecate is here in this reading, giving you love, and then Spirit is overall delivering this message, as well as your ancestors and your spirit guides. They're helping us out. So ancestors and spirit guides of pile 2, what is their message? They got the card of the life force energy came. I'm like seeing like third eyes like third eyes just like in the darkness. What is the energy? So we're gonna do rock divination and read the rocks and see what messages we can get from those. So dream, 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 dream. Okay. You know what I'm thinking of? Yeah, it's this energy, because that just, I'm so sorry, because the beginning of that reading was just incredibly chaotic. Like, I'm sure that you felt that as well. It was just extreme. It's like a lot happening. And now that I've like breathed and relaxed, and I'm looking at these rocks, like, first it's interesting because I usually breathe. I usually see the rocks and then I like breathe and I try and receive a message. But they're, especially with that song, because do you remember that part in the movie? What's his name is saying, dream, 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 like dream us a boat or something like that so that they can get out of where they need to get. And he's rushing him and he's like giving him nightmares. He's like terrified, the little boy. Taylor Lautner scaring him. And there's this energy of like, there's a little bit too much pressure. It's not supposed to be, that's not how it works when it comes to you manifesting. But actually what it doesn't feel so much about manifesting. It feels more like communication and understanding. When it comes to you being able to understand and communicate hidden symbols, what I'm seeing is like, there's this card, Ogma. That's funny. There's always a card that connects to another card in the reading. So pile 4's card was Ogma. And on Ogma, he has like these written symbols on him and I think in the background. And it talks about language. And there's like a hidden language, right? There's hidden languages of the universe. There's hidden languages. There's languages that are written or orally spoken, just orally spoken or written. There's ancient languages, and they communicate to us different truths. Sometimes they can unlock within us our own gifts, our own deeper understandings. I think that's why I saw the third eye. But when it comes to trying to interpret and understand these languages, you can't do it by force. You can't do it when there's all of this pressure and there's these expectations to be able to completely understand and perfectly interpret. It's like light language, right? I don't know how to speak light language right now, but I don't know how to speak light language, and I imagine I won't be able to force myself. It's probably something that just comes to you, just as any gift does, just as any type of ability to communicate beyond our systems, beyond our learned tongues, our learned languages. It comes with a trust, it comes with this surrender and this softness and this gentle experience of opening yourself up to spirit and seeing what happens. And that's when things start to make sense. That's when you begin to receive a message. But when there's heavy pressure and there's heavy judgment on how you interpret, on how you receive, on how your gifts express themselves to you, how you learn and understand, it makes it really, really difficult to focus and to really give the message in the way that it needs to be given. And I think that sorry, I got distracted by a message. I think that you actually, Pile 2, have a gift for reading hidden symbols like hidden language or secret languages, ancient languages. I think you have a gift when it comes to communication and interpretation and understanding. But it's a gift that really strongly shows itself when you feel safe, when you feel relaxed, when you feel calm, when you feel at peace. That's when these gifts come forward and you are able to really interpret, when you are really able to see between the lines, when you're really able to give nuance to a symbol, to a language, to a phrase, to a conversation. You have a gift of the tongue, and it's connected to your third eye. It's like your spirit works through your mouth, through your expression. So when you speak, you are able to unlock things and trigger things within people. You could be a great writer. Or like I said, you could just literally have a gift for interpreting symbols. But it needs to be a very specific energy. If you're trying to grow these gifts, if you're trying to nurture these, the way to do it, I feel, is connected to you. There shouldn't be too much pressure. Like if you're trying to do it as a career, start by doing it just on your own. Start by doing like free readings, if that's something that you're learning to do, or something where people can't hold anything against you and you can't feel, it doesn't feel like you have to force yourself, because that's when it's too much. And there's this need to be honest with yourself. Like if you know that right now there's too much pressure around the experience of trying to communicate or interpret or express yourself, so much pressure to the point where you would find yourself perhaps making up interpretations or just trying to create meaning out of something that you don't sense a meaning for because you just want to offer something. It's important for you to, first of all, like, accept that with compassion, because we all do that. But then there's this energy of, well, don't force yourself to continue to do it this way. If you need space and time to learn how to read, to learn how to communicate and express yourself confidently, take that time. Because you really do have a gift when it comes to receiving a message. You really do have a gift when it comes to being able, it's like you're able to read symbols. Like to be completely honest, this does feel very esoteric, and it does feel and it feels like it's written symbols that I think you could do really well at interpreting. Like I would look into learning like ancient Greek or ancient Latin or ancient Egyptian, like any culture that has symbols written, you might be really good at learning languages where the symbols are pretty interesting, like Mandarin, right? Or like I don't know what the language is called, but in the Muslim faith in Islam, I think, like they have interesting symbols, right? Sorry, I like don't remember what the faith is actually called or what the language is called. I think even in like some Indian cultures, there's a lot of different cultures where the language has characters and special characters. You might even be really talented. I also wonder if people here, if there's like any blind people, because you, I imagine, like this is a strength of yours of being able to read. Even sign language, I think that you would be gifted at. There's something that has to do with symbols. It's not about audibly being spoken, but it's that other form of communication that you have a gift in being able to interpret and express. But it comes through when you feel safe. It comes through when you feel at peace. So there's this energy of you getting grounded so that you can find your way easily and flow into this connection, flow into this experience of interpreting, of understanding. Oh, this is very beautiful. I'm even thinking of certain, like, I think you also have a gift for looking at artwork. Like, I'm thinking of right now different, like, indigenous, like American indigenous or Canadian indigenous, even like Mesoamerican artwork, and being able to like interpret it. There's something specifically around ancient cultures. You can look at these symbols and you can literally read it. You can read them, but you really have to be grounded and you have to trust what's coming through. It's like, especially because so I'll tell you something about myself. I haven't been taught tarot, and I haven't been taught rock divination or bone readings or anything like that. I know that there's systems of learning, and I know that there's like charts and things like that, symbols that you can reference and things like that, but I don't do that. And not that there's nothing wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that. And I support going to school and getting educations. I support having teachers and things like that. But I don't do that because I know that the way that I like to read is intuitively. And I know that, and I might end up getting an education in that. Like I would go to school for astrology, you know? But when it comes to reading, which is kind of the energy I'm getting for you, I think you might be a very talented reader. I like to do it intuitively. And sometimes that means that maybe perhaps the meanings that I'm picking up haven't been determined as like a meaning, you know, like if a professional person who had studied all of this looked at the same set of cards or the same rock expression, they might not receive the same message I had said, or they might be like, but you're missing this or you're missing that. But there's this thing of like, for some people, it comes naturally, right? Your gift pulls directly from the subconscious. It doesn't pull from an educational system. It doesn't pull from a set, decided, list of meanings established by other people. Your gift is pulling straight from the dream state. It's pulling from the subconscious. It's pulling from spirit, from source directly. So that means that your interpretations, your reading of these languages, of these symbols, it's going to be different every time. That's I've never had, like, I'll show you. Like, so this is the rock. This is what I'm looking at right now with your reading. And I just did another reading for pile 1. And obviously the rocks never come out in the same shape. But even if so, I'm reading based off of the energy, right? And just what I feel. It would never be the same message, and I wouldn't be able to look at a chart and be able to pull out a message that way, because that's not the way that I like to read, and it's not the way I feel called to read. And I just feel that Spirit is directing you to trust the way that you receive messages, whether it fits the standard or the tradition or not. You know, I don't think that matters. When a lot of these ancient tools of divination and language were being crafted, they were being crafted from spirit. So there was no one way to do it, because spirit does not exist in one way. Source is very diverse and very complex, and everyone can look at the same thing and experience a plethora of different experiences and meanings. You look at the same artwork as somebody else and you see something completely different. It's art. What you're doing, it's art. It's artistic interpretation, if you want to make it, if you want to see it through that lens. But there's this feeling of you really trusting your ability to interpret and kind of you challenging yourself, because I am seeing very specifically that you can read ancient symbols, and you can help, like, it's like you understand direction. Like, you can map out, it's so interesting. You can map out meaning, you can create direction, you can direct people, you can find out like where you're supposed to go. It's like you understand the different ways. It's so, I can't fully explain it, but just because of the symbol that I'm seeing and the way that it looks, there's just many, many things that come up when you're able to look at these symbols, when you're able to read these languages or read these artistic, these art forms, it could even be. But you have to trust what comes up. Don't judge yourself for what you experience. Don't judge yourself for what you find yourself wanting to say. And, set the boundaries where you want. Maybe it's something where you do these readings pre-recorded like I do, and not in person, because people are beautiful, but sometimes people can add a lot of pressure, especially if they don't really have faith in you. And they can skew your experience of reading and make it hard for you to trust yourself when you're giving an interpretation, even if you really do feel this. Because anyone who does readings can tell you, you're not making anything up. It's what you see, it's what you feel, but sometimes it's scary because, at least for me, it's not like a voice in my head being like, ah, la 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 la, and then I say, ah, la la la, it's just a feeling. It's just me just talking, and somehow I'm speaking a message. It's channeling. And for you, when you see these symbols, when you read these symbols, you're channeling. So it's going to be a unique message. It's going to not always make a whole lot of sense. It's oracle energy. When the oracles would deliver their message, they weren't explaining shit. Like, readers these days are so gracious, because you've seen readers. Like, we're out here giving hour-long messages. We're explaining things. We're trying to really make things make sense for people. Back in the day, people would literally go to an oracle, pay however much they paid, or like exchange something, whatever, bring them a gift, whatever. And the oracle would tell them, and then it would be, and there's your message. You go interpret it. You go make sense of it. But readers these days are so gracious and overextend themselves to like the degree that we're out here doing a whole lot of extra stuff that our ancestors were not doing, And there's this energy of kind of returning a little bit back to this, I wanted to say matriarch, but this energy of having enough pride and respect for what you do to know that you don't have to explain yourself or prove yourself or answer to the pressure of anybody. What you're doing, it's an ancient and sacred gift to be able to read these things, to be able to interpret these things. Because back when these languages were being spoken, were being drawn out, these symbols were being created, this was not just regular, like, this is not like English, it's not like creating the English alphabet, though that's a whole magical tool within itself, just as any other language is. But these were different because the state of Earth was different, right? You know what I mean? Like, things were different. There is a whole lot. It was, things were a little bit more transparent, and we're heading back in that direction. Life is a spiral. So we're coming back to that point again where the world is a lot more open. Things are a lot more fluid. The veil isn't thick. Isn't as thick. It might damn near be gone soon, so the world might be unrecognizable to what you remember as a kid or remember now versus when we're like 80 or like, 80 years from now. The world will be completely different, and not just in the way that it standardly would be different because it's been 80 years, but in a very fundamental way where, like, imagine, like 80-year-olds now, I bet it's the same. It's like that, but on like crack, because like if you lived 80 years ago and then you're still here, like the world is completely different, right? We have technology, you have phones and computers that, you know, you can carry in your pocket, and Bluetooth, and there's drones, and you know, all these ridiculous things. And it's that kind of energy where we're heading back into this state. But the point is, for you, you have a gift of the ancient, okay? You have a gift of the ancient. It's hard to explain. You just see it. And I'm sure you know, because I think that you've probably, if you haven't, I would just go look at ancient symbols and just like take a guess. Just like see what it could mean. Just like try. Just try to, just whatever comes to mind, write it down or say it, and just record a little video of you doing like a little reading of like ancient text and just, you know, channeling a message. Just try and see if it makes sense for you. Just see if it kind of makes sense, because I think you have a gift, and I think that that's literally what this reading is about. Like this pile is just, you know, you've got a gift. You've got a gift of the ancient, and gifts of the ancient are hard to make sense of and very hard to feel confident about, because almost none of that gift has any connection to this present world, because it's so far back. You know, we're not talking about the witches of Salem or anything like that. We're talking way, way, way back, way, way, way back, like Atlantis, like Avalon, like Lemuria, you know, back when we were talking like that, and that wasn't considered a mythical world. So way back. That's the kind of gift you have. Like even I'm thinking of like the Mayans and like Inca, and like, you know, that kind of shit. Like it's that. There's cultures that exist today that still hold that, you know, still hold true to a lot of those themes and those things. So those cultures might really appreciate you. But you have to develop this trust within yourself and your ability to interpret these and read these. Yeah. Okay, so and go towards it bravely. And bravely really just means go towards it. Just go towards it. Just try. Just like dive in and see what shows up for you. See what comes up for you. It will be different for every reader. You probably won't get the same message as anybody else, and that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. But I would really explore this. I kind of feel like I can't read, not that I can't read the tarot, but just because of what your reading is like, I kind of feel like I'm not sure how helpful the tarot is. Because I think the fact that this reading coming through strongly in the rocks is part of the message. Like it's that kind, you know, it's not like this. So I'm not going to read the tarot. I will actually pull, I'll see if we get an oracle card. And then I'm actually, like, I don't think I'm going to go on too long with your reading, because I don't think you need to. I just, literally the assignment, you guys, is just to go look at some ancient symbols and test out. Just try and channel something. Just try. And I'm going to try too. Shit. Oh my God, Lilith, face your shadow. Okay. Oh my God, spiritual transformation, Kali, unexpected cards. I was like wondering if maybe like a Lemuria card would come out, or like an Atlantis card. But you have Lilith. I didn't even notice that gray at the end of her hair. Yeah, like sacred geometry. You might be able to literally divine a message from that. You might literally be able to like Reiki, but then begin to receive messages, you know? It's that kind. It's in the hidden arts. Oh my God, there you go. Because there's, oh my, yeah, okay, that's the end of your reading. And now we're moving on. But what was pile 3's card? I literally don't remember. Anyways, Ogma, I remember I was mentioning him. Like, it's like these symbols and like these, I think you would be able to read these literally and be able to explain what it means. Like, I think you should try. I think you could look at sacred geometry, and I think you could literally divine a message that's for real from the divine, like speaking to you. I think you should really, really try. Just try it out. even with Cain, like I think that you could probably interpret what this means. Seriously, you guys. But yeah, look at her third eye. Look at her third eye. It's different. Okay. That is so cool. Okay. Yeah, and this is obviously a past life gift, obviously. Shit, I really don't remember what pile 3's card was. It's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna read. It's hard because I don't really feel like any of these cards are. I don't feel like reading any of these. Maybe I'll read Kalima. I have to look at it first. Give me a minute, because your reading is super. Anyways, I don't feel like reading any of these. Hold on. Sorry, I know I'm being all annoying, but I just learn a new language. Yeah. You know what I will do? I'll read you the energy of Ogma. Ogma, watch your words. Infuse your language with light. Your words matter. Oma is the Celtic warrior, god of literature, eloquence, and speech. He's the champion of Tuatha de Danann. Tuade Danann. Tuade Danann. The Irish pantheon of divine beings. A lord of knowledge. He created Ogham script, the earliest system of writing in Ireland. The language consisted of notches and strokes traditionally cut into wood or stone. Oma is said to have conceived many languages and poetry that were imbued with rays of light. Celtic mythology describes sunshine beaming from his hair, and he's given the epithets of sun-faced and strong man. Oma teaches us about the tremendous power of words and supports writers, linguists, and orators. Yeah, like I don't feel like it's about the meaning of that card. I feel like it's about like who this person is. Same with who Lilith is, who Kalima is. They are energies that broke boundaries. They are energies that reach into the ancient, that reach into the subconscious, into the darkness, and divine, very powerful messages. But there's nothing around their world that supports them doing this. They have to go out and trust their own instincts, trust what comes from them, because that's all that is able, that's where the truth comes from. That's where they speak their truth. There was nobody to be their teacher. They had to do it themselves. And that's the same energy that you have. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of your reading pile 2. Thank you for letting me read for you. I hope that you enjoyed and you connected to it. And yeah, like I said, just try, man. You could look at any ancient language that interests you. Doesn't need to be one of one of the really popular ones. It can be any single one. Just look up ancient languages, ancient language symbols, and just try. Look at sacred geometry and just try and divine a message, for real. I think you'll be shocked. I think you have a gift. Yeah, there's Apollo with divine messages. I can't believe I don't know what pile 3 is. I just can't remember their card. Anyways, bye pile 2. Okay. Ancestors, what is pile 3's card? I wonder if that's part of the message. It probably is. Okay, this is pile 3. Hello, pile 3. I can't remember which card is yours, and that's making me feel like it's a part of your message, but the part of me that wants to know what card is yours is like, so I just won't, I don't know if I'll ever know. I'll know if I watch this video back, but we're going to do your reading regardless. So pile 3. I was like, power, powder, pile. Oh. No, you're not Ogma. Ogma was the fourth pile. Pile 3. Ancestors, spirit, please help us to receive a message for pile 3. We're going to be doing rock divination as we've been doing with the past 2 readings, and receiving your mystery message from spirit with guidance from Hecate. So ancestors and spirit guides of pile 3 who wants to come here and help us receive and deliver this message. Okay. Oh. Okay, I just had to check the time. So, pile 3. Immediately what I'm seeing is the belly of a whale. And you know that story of Jonah? I don't know the story, but I know part of it. Is your card tell the truth? I'm sorry, I'm trying to guess what your card is. I can't believe I can't remember. What I'm immediately sensing is a whale, and being in the belly of a whale. And it's interesting because, it makes me think of Pinocchio. Have you seen the claymation version of Pinocchio? It's a beautiful story. I really highly recommend, by Guillermo del Toro. I'm sorry. It was a really great story, and you might really enjoy it. But there's that part where, I won't want to give any spoilers, but in the Bible, there's the belly of the whale, right? Jonah gets stuck in the belly of the whale. I don't know how he gets out, and I don't know what the story is about. But there's this energy of this opening, of entering into this opening, which ends up being like this deep abyss. There's this energy of going into something, thinking that you are about to venture into this deep, into this open space. And it is a wide open space, but then you end up hitting this wall and you realize that you are actually enclosed within like this canyon, this cave within the belly of a whale. And what is it that you are here to do? Why are you in this place? It's like the only way out is up. It's kind of like when you hit rock bottom. And I remember I went to this place called Kala, where my friend was performing, and she was talking about how rock bottom is a beautiful place to be because it's where you plant the seeds. And it's funny because most of us voluntarily kind of go into rock bottom. Usually before you're in rock bottom, if you want to look at it like the root, like the chakra system, you're in like the sacral chakra. And then it's like, well, I'm basically at the bottom, so let me just like go. Like most people, when your life is falling apart and then you hit rock bottom, you usually just kind of walk in because you're like, well, I'm already like, it's just time. Let me just fully go all in since I'm already on my way down. And it was kind of this energy where for you, I feel like you entered this kind of rock bottomy, like the bottom of a pit kind of space with an open mind. It was like this belly of the whale. This whale was waiting for you, jaw open. And you were like, oh, well, is there space? If there's space, then I'm going in. And I feel like because you entered rock bottom, you entered this descent into the root, into the deep, into the abyss, into shadow, this way, there's also ways out. Like there are ways out that are easily accessible and open to you. There's actually many gateways out. Wow. What you did by entering into rock bottom is you actually entered into a portal. Who are you, pile 3? I think that's why I can't remember your freaking card, because it's like, it doesn't matter who I was. You have a very interesting energy. It's kind of like you came into this portal, right? You came into this, so let's see, you're out at sea and maybe you're stranded. So you're kind of like, it's already over, right? But some people might stay away from the whale and like be waiting for like an airplane to fly over and signal, or for a boat to come and rescue them. But you saw this whale and you're like, oh, and started swimming towards it and went inside of it. And you're just like, this looks like a good place to be. Like, this looks like an interesting time. This looks like there's something here. I mean, I feel like you're the type of person that it's like, this isn't here for no reason. Like, you take everything as a sign. And good. I know that people make fun of those people, but I'm one of those people. And everything is a sign. Everything is a sign. How much weight you have to put on it is however much weight you want to put on it. But everything does mean something, at least to me. So I understand your energy. But yeah, I feel like this rock bottom, this tower moment, this belly of a whale showed up to you, and you saw it as an opportunity, as a new space to be within, as open space, as a place to imagine, as a way to dream. And because you saw it that way, it became that. You have very strong magician energy, very strong alchemy energy. So you came into rock bottom, right? You came into the belly of the whale. And it was like almost like in that moment that you chose to trust and enter into this space, understanding that there is a very high possibility that you could be caught, but almost like it was almost like you didn't see it that way. Like, what other people might have interpreted as rock bottom, it was almost like you were fulfilling a prophecy, or you were going in and completing, like you were on your hero's journey arc, and so you're like, oh, well, this is just another portion of the tale. And there was just this innate understanding that you would be finding your way out, that you would make it to the other side, that you would find a way through, that this was a place that you were going and would eventually lead you somewhere else. You saw it for the potential. You didn't see it for the constraint. You didn't see it for the containment. You saw potential within this space that other people might see as a prison. And because you chose to see it that way, it was like immediately it transformed into that. It became a portal space. So now I feel as though you are in a portal. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that you're still there. And I think it's kind of like slowly streams of light are beginning to pour in, and you're beginning to see many avenues out, many ways out. There are many places for you to go. There are many worlds that you can enter into. There's many worlds and paths that you can align yourself with. Because you saw the potential of this empty space, because you saw the potential of darkness, because you saw the potential of the rock bottom, of the belly of a whale, of surrender. When nothing else showed up, this whale shows up, mouth open, basically asking you to come in. You're stranded in an ocean. And here you are, and you find this whale, and you're just like, you saw it as an opportunity. Other people might see it as a sign of danger and swim further out into the adrift, further from this opportunity, because it's scary, and it's like, what is this? It's coming here to hurt me, even though there's nothing else here for you. You saw it as an opportunity. And now you're in this portal space, and there are so many ways, so many places you could go. And it's interesting though, because one of the places you could go is also back out into that water if you wanted. And I feel like if you did do that, so you're in rock bottom, right? You're in the belly of the whale. You're in this dark space, in this space that could be seen as containing, but it also is a space where there are many avenues out. You just have to see the light, though. You have to recognize the light. So the biggest opening, the biggest path is right back out to where you were, where you came from. You could come in here, look around and be like, oh, and go right back out. I think if you did that, though, this rock bottom, it's a portal, but it kind of looks like rock bottom. This rock bottom space would close up, the whale would close its mouth and swim out and go away. Okay? So this is so interesting. This is so interesting because you chose to enter it. It was like activated. It was like, oh, okay, they're in me. Now, this is not one of those situations where you can go in and go out and go in and go out. You're in now. You've chosen to enter. Once you go out, it's over, game done. Anytime you choose to leave this portal, then you're out and it's a new world. But this is like wow, this is so interesting. This is like one of those like once in a lifetime, happenings. I'm seeing this from a very spiritual perspective. And in the physical, I'll describe what this could look like. But I'm looking at it first from a spiritual perspective, which I think is why like Jonah in the Bible came up with the belly of the whale, right? It's a metaphor. but yeah, because you chose to enter, it's been activated. Now, because you chose to enter, that path that you have is still active, but all these other paths have opened up, activated. You would have to leave through a different way that you entered, though, right? You're not coming back in, you're not going out the way you came in. So first, there's a new direction, there's a new path available for you. You have to be trusting, though, that when you, if you, let's say, okay, I have to show you what I'm looking at first. So this is the rock. These are the rocks. Can you see them? I think you can. Okay, so those are the rocks. There's many different openings, right? And if you're right here in the center, you have to decide first whether you want to just look around, be kind of freaked out by the random streams of light coming in, which are the paths that have been activated towards you, and just decide to go back out. If you do that, you're going to go back to the place that you just were, and you'll have to wait for something else to come around. You're going to have to wait for something else to come around. So I'll tell you what I feel. If you go back out where you just were, because you look in this rock bottom and you're like, I don't really see anything going on here that I'm interested in, this is looking sketchy, this looks unreliable. What you're going to face back out where you just were is, it's the death card. It's Scorpio energy. The only way to rescue you from where you were is divine intervention. This is divine intervention, but this is divine intervention through a medium, through the earth. It's earth energy collaborating with spirit to help you out, right? So it's a whale coming up when you're stranded in the ocean. It's a job opportunity. It's something from the past coming back and being like, hey, do you need this? It's a friend reaching out. It's something like that, right? Should you choose to look at this and be like, no thanks, and like you've engaged it though. It feels like you've engaged it, and now it's like a matter of, are you going to see the potential of, now you're going to continue to look into potential, or did you only see potential for the glimpse of it and then feel like it's not enough and then walk back out to where you were, to what you know, right? So if you choose not to engage more further this potential, what's going to happen back out in this oasis that you've been in, this ocean, this kind of lonely energy is, and it's still a part of the subconscious, is you're going to face the death card. You're not going to die, but there is going to be divine intervention. How you come out on the other side, I don't know. I don't think it's bad. It's death energy. So it's going to be huge transformation. It's not going to be by your control and by your design. And with Saturn and Pisces, it's funny because I was watching a reading the other day and she was like, don't let Saturn choose for you. Don't let Saturn and Pluto, I think it was Saturn and Pluto or Saturn and Uranus or something like that, choose for you. Choose for yourself. This is that kind of energy. Don't go back to where you came from once you've engaged this activated portal energy because it looks kind of sketchy. Don't go back out there. You know what's out there. If you go back out there, you're going to face the number 13, the death card. You're going to face divine intervention, and divine intervention is coming from the cosmos. It's going to come from Saturn because that's the energy that's really powerful in the collective right now because Saturn just entered Pisces today. It's the full moon today as well. Don't go back out there, okay? Saturn's gonna be Saturn, and it's gonna do whatever, and it's gonna be in your highest and greatest, light, whatever, anyways. But because you allowed it to choose, that does change your frequency because you've given away your power, you've relinquished. It's not the same as surrendering in a way where you're trusting. It's a form of distrust in your own ability to see potential, in your own ability to build from the darkness, from the subconscious. You're going to be choosing to go back into a cycle, and Saturn's going to take that and they're going to say, okay, well then this is where you need to end up. Don't go back. So let me just close off the option of going back out there. I'm telling you, don't go back. Now that you're in rock bottom, now that you're in the belly of this whale, I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see like 10 ways out, literally. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I see 10 ways besides this big exit right back into where you came from. There are 10 ways out that could lead you to all different paths. I see like 3 or 4 that I would really consider, because there's enough space for you to move through, where like some of you would still need to be let go of, but there would be enough of you that you would be able to walk into it with integrity and with a plan, with energy attached to you. You wouldn't be depleted, because there's part of the energy of being in rock bottom is like, do you leave by climbing out and, you know, receiving energy, climbing out through passion, or like clawing your way out, you know, like having to shrink and like push your way out and like basically like be dying as you're trying to get out. There's this energy of, are you escaping rock bottom, or are you climbing out and choosing to leave, you know, and going out into a new path. This is super, super interesting. It's very like conceptual, and I'm a little worried about how I'm explaining it, but I'm gonna just trust that it makes sense. I'm gonna tell you what I think. I'm kind of thinking it's one of these spaces at the top. What I think is your best bet out of this rock bottom, out of this portal energy, is doing something that requires a sacrifice, a part of yourself. And the reason why I think that is because you want to give back, okay? This energy showed up to you when you had nothing. This portal energy showed up to you and it gave you an opportunity out. It gave you an opportunity into a new experience when there wasn't anything else coming up except death card energy, except major transformation, Scorpio, Pluto and Aquarius and Pluto, Saturn and Pisces energy. Okay, so it gave you an out. It offered you a gift. Now, in order to balance the scales as you leave from this energy, because it's just a portal, it's temporary energy, you're not going to stay here. In order to balance the scales, I think you should leave something behind. I think you should be willing to sacrifice something. I think you should be willing to give something up, which means looking at your life, looking at who you are right now. What can you stand to lose? What do you need to let go of? What would actually, think about traveling light, okay? When you leave this portal, you want to leave with room for this potential that this portal energy is giving you. It's giving you potential should you choose to actually take one of its alternative routes out. The gift it's giving you is also the potential of it. It's giving you this subconscious, this darkness energy, this magic energy. Anything can happen. It's open space, right? If you want to take that with you, you're going to want to get rid of some stuff that's already been established, physical matter, things that have already been prescribed meaning, things that have already, lived their lives out in your life and are ready to be transmuted into something else. Give to the portal. Allow it to create alchemy out of the parts of yourself that you don't need anymore, so that this portal can go and give that energy to something else. It's very interesting because this is very divine collective energy. It's showing us the connections between what we all choose to do, right? What you choose to do spiritually, in the way that you choose to balance out your karma and be gracious, be grateful for what you receive, especially when it comes to divine blessings and divine favors. It also feeds into what other people receive. Should you choose to not just take from this portal by leaving in a way where you don't really have to give anything up, where it's just kind of like an easy way out, or you can just kind of slip right out, there's nothing that's taken from you in the process, you take a little bit of the magic from the portal away without giving anything. So that portal energy isn't as strong. We feed into each other, and that's how we grow our abundance, okay? And so the next time this portal comes around for somebody else who needs the help, who knows how much magic is going to be there for them to also take? Who knows how much potential? This is also like a test of your character, okay? This is a test of what you're willing to do. First, you already showed your character by coming into the belly of this whale. You've chosen to enter this darkness state. You've chosen to enter rock bottom. You already have a really strong and brave and courageous character to be able to do this. Now, this is who you are beyond the warrior, okay? Are you willing as a warrior, we're always fighting to protect ourselves and sometimes fighting to win. Now you've chosen to enter this space and not see it as rock bottom, but perhaps just as see it for its potential. And I've closed that opening back into where you were. I don't want you to go back. So now you shed off the warrior skin, and who are you as a person when it comes to gratitude? How do you give? Are you willing to lose, knowing that somebody else will receive, and knowing that ultimately you've already received by being in this space, knowing that you're already getting what you need. You're taking what you need, which is this rich potential energy. So what are you going to leave here for the portal to transmute and turn into more of this rich darkness energy for somebody else, a stranger? You really don't know who this is going to go to next. What are you going to leave? Are you going to leave anything? Are you going to slip out onto a path that's easy for you to enter onto? And it's not a shame thing in terms of, oh, you're taking this easy path, but it's a character thing. Because are you willing to sacrifice anything? Do you just receive without giving anything? Are you willing, or do you just take? This is something's been offered to you. But do you offer anything back? Do you want to? Nobody's forcing you to. But I think that you could, and I think that you should, because I feel like a part of you already wants to. There's things that you want to let go of. Give them up and give them to this portal. This is really interesting. This is also it's about feeding the universe. How do you give back to the universe, right? If this portal was an altar, it would be like offerings, creating an offering for it. I'm going to try and explain how this could apply in real life. I know how this could apply. This applies to my own life. So for me, right, I'm in a space where I'm winding down the spiral too, and in this specific portion of my life. And I've entered into this. Okay, so I have the opportunity. What would be the opportunity to enter into this portal space, into this rock bottom? Oh, giving up. Okay, so this rock bottom showed up for me, but I chose to see it as an opportunity. I chose to see it as potential. The potential was me giving up this opportunity to study abroad with this program that was a part of my university, and therefore giving up university. I was already kind of floating off in space because I was on break, but I had just signed up for this random class that would include an option to travel. Now the universe spoke to me, and they were like, this whale popped up, and it was showing up as give up this class. Now that's what I mean when I say it's rock bottom, but it's actually an opportunity. The whale's not showing up and being like, I'm here to rescue you. It doesn't look super great. It's looking kind of sketch. And for me to just look at this opportunity, I look at giving up this chance to study abroad as an opportunity, not as a sad thing, not as a burden thing, was very difficult. But I chose to give up the class and give the spot to somebody else, whoever else was on that list. So I enter into this portal space. Now, I could have gone back out and been like, actually, wait, I'm sorry, and emailed the school and been like, actually, blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. So that door is closed. I'm not going back out there. The opportunity to study abroad is gone from that perspective, right? Now I'm in this weird space where the past is revisiting me, and I'm thinking of going back to school. And I'm in this space where there's a lot that could happen, right? But I had to first give up something. I had to give up the chance to go abroad, even though now I'm thinking about going back to school anyways. So there's this energy of like, well, damn, why didn't I just stay? But something had to be sacrificed. So I think there's a sacrifice in that aspect, right? And can you see how that can apply to this situation for you? It's like there's this gift coming back to you. There's a way out into the world again, a way out into solid land again. But first you had to get off solid land. First you had to give up an aspect of the solid land to get there. And now that I'm out here in this portal, it's like, okay, but I'm here now. What am I going to leave with this portal? Since it gave me a gift. I don't know if I would have returned back to the same line of thinking and gotten the gifts that I got from being in this weird in-between space had I not entered into giving up this class, right? I gave up this class and it put me in a mindset of like, now I really have to survive. What am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with my career? And it's led me to this point where I actually now have an action plan of what I could actually do. I didn't have that when I was still thinking about this class, and I won't know if I would have ever, because I'm not back out there. Again, I'm not going back, and I don't think I would have. So now, what am I going to also give? It's another sacrifice that I need to make in order to make things right, in order to show the universe that I appreciate when they give me a bit of a challenging opportunity, a challenging portal energy. It's very Maya, it's the illusion. It looks like shit, but it's actually gold. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that energy. So now I have to think, and I don't know what I'm going to give up. That's why I think I'm doing this reading. I don't know what it would be that I would sacrifice. I have to look at my life and see what am I willing to let go of about myself, about my comfort zone, about my feelings of safety that would feed this portal, that would make it so that it can go and run on the same energy to show up for somebody else. And this is where Hecate comes in, connecting us all together. This portal showed up with the strength that it was able to show up with because somebody else was in this portal and chose to give up something so that I could have this energy, so that I could take this potential and this richness. Somebody else already was in this portal before me. Their energy is all around here. It created one of these light paths. So, and I'll never know who that person is. I'll probably never meet them. They could be on another planet for all I know. It's just energy. But they gave something to this portal that allowed it to move to where it could feel me, and it was allowed to resonate with me because it had the strength of the connection of all of the sacrifices that people before had made, and it was able to come find me and give me an opportunity out. We feed each other. We take care of each other. Okay, so this is like, oh my gosh, this is a very important moment for you. It's more than it is about getting out of rock bottom or anything. It's about how you show up for those you can't see. It's how you show up in the universe as a spirit, as a soul, with gratitude, despite that regardless of what that does for you or not. It's a selfless moment. You're going to give up something that you don't really have to. You don't really need to. You could really go on to your own path with this thing still intact. But are you going to give it up anyways? Because you need something that's going to give and offer to this portal the way that it's offered to you. It's gotten you out of this stranded experience. What's something that matches the gold that it's given to you? What's gold to you that you can give up? This is an easy energy. It's super challenging. I'm not judging you at all if you really are like, I don't want to give. Like, what do you mean? Like, I've already sacrificed so much. I'm not judging you at all. I really do understand. But this is a character test, and I think you should try to pass because you can. You have something that you can offer. You need to look at your life and think about what that would be, and then offer it up and go out of this portal a different way than you came in. A way that challenges you and requires a sacrifice. Okay? So that's your rock divination reading. I don't even know when we started your reading. I have to think about it. I think it was like 70. So, are there any additional messages for pile 3? Any additional messages for pile 3? I still can't remember what your card is. Light your fire, Pele. Eternal love, Aphrodite, and Hecate. Past life, healing. Let's go. Okay, hold on. Oh, there's a rock under me. Light your fire, Pele is the card that came out. So that's the card that we're going to read for you. You have a really, really powerful message. I'm just like, I believe in you. I think you're probably going to give something up and go out a different way. And so for that, you should be really proud of yourself because this ain't easy. Okay, Pele, light your fire. Channel your creative and emotional passion. Get energized. Pele is the passionate goddess of volcanoes and fire who created the Hawaiian Islands. Said to dwell in the crater of Kilau volcano, Pele's molten lava both creates and destroys. Legend says that Pele journeyed from Tahiti to Hawaii in a canoe and was killed in a tempestuous clash with her sister, a Tahitian sea goddess. Pele's spirit lived on in the volcano, shape-shifting and reappearing to the Hawaiian people at will. Powerful yet capricious, she can succumb to outbursts of jealousy that create volcanic eruptions. Pele shows us how to work creatively with intense, volatile energies and harness our inner fire. Pele explodes into your world today with volcanic force and searing heat, so prepare to be shaken and stirred. You may have been doing a good job at keeping a lid on your emotions and passions, but something might be about to erupt. As long as you channel them positively, you can boldly let your fiery feelings and creative juices flow. If you've been feeling lackluster recently, Pele is here to light the fire in your belly. Imagine this flaming goddess standing in front of you, warming up your solar plexus. She sends energizing sparks throughout your entire body. If you're feeling jealous, try Pele's healing remedy. Consider the person you're jealous of as symbolizing an aspect of your own inner power that you haven't yet claimed. Reframe this person as an inspiration rather than a threat. If they can do it or have it, so can you. Pele invites you to turn up the heat in your life. Be an ardent lover, an enthusiastic contributor, a fervent force of dynamic creativity. Don't withhold your passion. Live with your soul on fire. Additional meanings. Express and explore your sexuality in safe ways. Channel your anger creatively to create positive change through writing, art, physical movement, campaigning, public speaking, and so forth. Respectfully visit and support Hawaii's sacred cultural sites. The invocation. I express intense energy in positive ways and embrace the fire within. Yes. What I was also going to say as I was reading Pele and even with Eternal Love. Oh, that's who it was. Yours was Asclepios. Sacred Medicine. That's who you were. Healing. That's who you were. Yes, that's who you were. Oh my God, that's crazy. I cannot remember that. I couldn't remember that. Imagine that's not your card and I mixed up the piles. No, but that was your card. Anyways, what I wanted to say was that this sacrifice could also be you putting one of your creations out into the world. The fact that I felt you not drowning, but drifting off in this ocean, the ocean represents the subconscious, it represents water energy, it represents creativity as well. And I was talking about the solar plexus, wasn't I? Maybe that was your other reading. The other pile. But anyways, the ocean represents creative energy as well because it's water energy, it's fluid. There's potential there. So this, if it, like as an artist from that perspective or as a creator, you're drifting off in your own world, right? Your own dream state. And it's hard to get grounding. Then this opportunity shows up and it's like, oh, I've got a way out of like writer's block or artistic block for you. And the sacrifice out though is you choosing to share your work. Something that you've been hiding for a long time, something that you've, consistently second guessed and blah, 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 and I don't know if I'm supposed to do this and blah, blah. It's like you just being honest and open and vulnerable and putting something out there creatively. That would also be a huge sacrifice because it's a sacrifice of fear. It's a sacrifice of comfort. It's a sacrifice of safety, in order to just be exposed and be seen and give your offerings up to the world and not hoard them away. Coming into your gift and beginning to practice your gifts is a sacrifice. It doesn't have to be something bad and scary, but that's what I meant. It's gold to you. It's something that's important to you. Being willing to give that to this portal, something rich, something meaningful, that is what is going to help balance the scales and give to somebody else. For no other reason than just to make sure that somebody else has the same opportunity as you. It's really interesting energy. Yeah, all right. Let us move on to pile 4. Thank you so much, pile 3. I really hope you enjoyed your reading. It was very informative and very interesting for me. So I appreciate you. Toodaloo. All right. Oh my God. Oh. Last one. Last pile. Okay. Hi, pile 4. Hello, pile 4. Okay, pile 4, hello. Welcome to your reading. We are here to deliver your mystery message. You were the pile that was almost not done, but we had to do your reading. I'm glad we did. I'm glad we are. So, Spirit, ancestors, spirit guides, Hecate watching over this reading, thank you for being here, and please help us to deliver the messages that we need to deliver. What is going on with pile 4? What do we need to know? What is the mystery message for pile 4? Pile 4. Pile 4. What is going on with pile 4? Oh, you know that song for, it's not Alice in Wonderland, but it was kind of like that vibe of a movie, and it was like, something's coming. And it was like the song about like the world, and like it was this girl and she was underwater, and it was like, something's coming. Oh, that's the kind of energy that I was thinking of. Something's coming. This is interesting because what I'm thinking of right now is archaeology, but of the archaeology of like a fish. And it's like, ooh, because what I was thinking of, I need to show you. There's the 7 of Cups card in this deck is the imagery that I had in my mind for your reading. Here it is. Just immediately. This. But it feels like you are diving beneath the surface because there's a gift. And it almost feels like the gift is this, like it calls out to you as this siren kind of call. And it's like, something's coming. Na, 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 na. I have no idea how that song goes, but I just remember this, something's coming. And it's a very like mystical, mythical, ethereal, mermaidy energy. And what I see here is like the bone skeleton of a fish. And it's not like a super profound looking fish, something very like interesting and like of the old world, but it has this energy to it that it is like golden, that it holds secrets, that it is ancient, that there is something in this, that if you find this skeleton, if you find this fish bone, the body of this fish that has died long ago, it's ancient. If you find it, you will unlock something. You will remember something or discover something. You will realize something. So there's this energy of diving to find it. And it feels like the fish is calling to you like judgment. And it's like, something's coming. And you're like going up to go find it or going down to go find it. I really want to find that song. Hold on. I don't even remember. It's like something like Miss Pergre's World of Wonderful Things, or I don't know, something like that. And I just see and I'm thinking of archaeology and people who dig to find artifacts of old worlds, and it helps put pieces together of history. And it feels like you are feeling this calling to dig, to discover, to find something. And as it pulls you in closer, you get closer to it. Something's coming. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Do you remember that? Oh, there's no Wi-Fi? No way. How is there no Wi-Fi? I'm on Wi-Fi right now filming. Oh my God. Ah! No, there's Wi-Fi. Anyways, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, that was the movie. So you should be able to find the song based off of that. Let's see if I can find it. This is important to me. I have to find it for you. It came out in 2016. Yeah, Tim Burton. That's why I was thinking of like Alice in Wonderland. Um, yeah, it was a fantasy movie, but there was that song, "Wish That You Were Here." Oh yes, I think that was it. Hold on. I know I can't play it for too long because it will, the video will get like turned off or something like that. But I want to try. You're always on my mind. I don't know if this is the one. Miss Pergreens. I know, I'm sorry. We're like taking a while. But this is like even the energy. No, that's not the song. New World Coming. There's a new world coming. Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel very deeply about this. I feel, Taurus. Oh my God, my cousin. She's so cute. Okay, hold on. I feel very deeply about this. I have to give me a minute. It's called New World Coming. There's a new world coming. Hold on. I can. Okay, here it is. I can only play like 5 seconds.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming. This one's coming to an end. Oh my God. You guys. Okay. I'm sorry, that was totally worth it though, because yeah, I was getting this energy of there's this skeleton that you are going to find and something's coming. And it's like this energy, but it's judgment energy because when you find it, it unlocks like a new world. And it was giving me like ancient energy unlocked, like what the archaeologists do, and then they put pieces together and then they're suddenly like, yeah, it's true, giants were on Earth, or yeah, this is how we learned about the dinosaurs, or yeah, it's true that there was this woman living here 18 million years ago. Like, it's a discovery that changes the world. It shifts the world. I don't know what to say. I'm not even going to try and make this like small and make it apply to your life in like a specific way, because no, it's not showing up like that. This, okay, well, I could, but I don't want to because this feels very big. Even if it's not like world shifting for everybody, but it is for you. It's very important what it is that this thing that's calling you in. It's calling you in. And you're swimming for it, you're diving for it. I've been getting diving dreams. I've been having diving dreams for a while now. I've only had a few, but they're weird because I'd never had diving dreams before. You're going and you're going and you're searching for something. And what it is that you find is something old. It's something new. It's something old. It's something ancient. It's like a prophecy, like, you know, the something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Like it's something that's meaningful like that. Like it's connected to something older, and it leads into tradition. It unlocks and it creates new worlds. It's something very important what you're finding, but it might not look that way. Because this fish, it's not like the fish of like some big old shark. It's actually like what I'm seeing is like, it's like the fish, it's like the bone scales of like, not a swordfish, of like a saltfish, or like just any like small like little fish. But the thing is, it's this key. It's these bones, this skeleton that is very old, that is it carries death energy to it because it's an ancestor now. It's passed on. The life that was in it, that was within it, has passed on. But when you find it, it's this key. It's this key that brings a revelation. It's like, you know, like in like movies, like I'm thinking of like in animated movies when they like pick up something that's supposed to be magical and they pick it up and then something suddenly like a revelation hits them and it's like wind like hits their face and like it blows them away. Like it's like that. You find this thing, you pick it up. You might not literally be finding something, but you remember this thing. You go and you search and you reach this point and you find it and it like whoosh. And it brings you immediately into a new world. You're never going back. Even if the world looks the same as whatever it was, it's not the same. It could never be the same. I remember when I first heard that song, I was mesmerized by it. I thought it was so beautiful and I thought it was so magical and ethereal and like, I was like, oh my God, like, it was a big deal for me. I love music like that. And that's why it made me think of even Alice in Wonderland. It's magical energy. This feels very magical. This feels like a quest. And I feel like you're in it's a new world coming. It's just around the bend. I feel like you're quite close. Like in this picture, she's not far. She's not far from understanding all of this, from gathering all of this. She's right there. I feel like you're right there. You could even be looking at it and thinking it's nothing, but it's because you haven't touched it yet. It's once you touch it. She hasn't touched it yet, but she sees it. She hasn't touched it yet. It's once you touch it. It's something that you have to feel. Just looking at it, it's not going to mean as much. Just looking at it, just seeing it, it's not going to mean as much. You have to touch it. You have to feel it. There's this sense of you have to bring it into the physical. You have to ground it. You have to feel it. It can't just be out floating in there. It can't just be a thought that comes into your head and then you continue to think about it. You have to grab it and you have to ground it. This is important. It has to be grounded. It has to be felt. Then you will understand what this means. Whoa. I feel like you should watch that movie. There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming. This one's coming to an end. Like, oh, it's like it gives me chills. I knew that this was significant. There is something being unlocked. There is something being reached. Oh my God, Rihanna, she's here in her strength. In her strength. Thoth is coming out a lot. He's come out in almost every reading, but just underlying, never like on his own. But divine masculine energy here. Yeah, like it feels very ethereal, like it's something that would like appear to you in the night. It might come to you in a dream. And then instead of just letting that be a dream, write it down, start looking it up, start interpreting it, start asking questions. It's like merging the feminine and the masculine, or the energies that are associated with feminine and masculine, you know? Putting action to the dreams that you are getting, putting action to the feelings that you are getting, ground them in your reality, begin to interpret them, learn, educate them, take the mystical seriously. The mystical was taken seriously in ancient times, and so it was serious, and so you did really see the effects of it in your real life. But we're in a time right now where it's not taken seriously. And so it's hard to see the effects in real life because it's not grounded in reality, because people don't believe it's real. It is real. But you have to trust and you have to believe. And I feel like this full moon, it's a full moon today, and Saturn is in Pisces now. Or it's moving into Pisces, something like that. No, I think it's in Pisces. It's in Pisces now. And I just feel that something is being revealed. It is like the moon is shining and you are able to see this like magical white witch or something. And you follow her and you touch her and you realize she's not a figment of your imagination. And then it's like, holy shit, magic's real. You know, like it's one of those moments. It's like you see the 9 3/4 platform and you're like, oh, wait, all of this is real. Like you go from being a muggle to a witch. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, you come out of hiding. Suddenly everything changes. But you have to touch it. You have to make it real. You can't let it just float. Don't just let it be there in the subconscious. Don't let it just be in your dream state. Once you see it, you will know what this is because it's going to seem quite ordinary to you, yet you're not going to be able to get your mind off of it. It's going to feel like just any regular old thing, but you're not going to be able to look away. Like you're just going to be called. It's calling to you. It's like a siren. You can't ignore a siren's call. The fisherman told you that. You can't ignore the call of a siren. It's like that. Like, you will not be able to ignore this, no matter how ordinary it looks. We see the moon we see a full moon every month, and yet you can't ignore the full moon. You can't ignore the moon. This is something that you can't ignore, no matter how ordinary it seems, no matter what you feel like you've seen this before, you have seen it before. This resonates because it's ancient, it's deep within you, and it might appear in this world as something very regular, but it has to, because right now we live in a world that's filled with the regular and the mundane. But it's once you touch it, it's once you feel it, that you feel the spirit of it. You feel that it is alive in a way that you've never felt aliveness before. And suddenly everything changes. It's the missing piece. It's the missing element. I'm like, what do I do? There's a new world coming. Why is it a fish that I see? Because it is connected to water, subconscious perhaps. I wanted to say like Atlantis, Lemuria, like this is a key. But it doesn't need to be attached to anything in specific. Just know that it's ancient, and it's important that you take it seriously, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it comes in like. Just you can't look away, you can't ignore it, you can't get your eyes off of it. It just has your attention. That's how you know. And if this isn't a thing in particular, it's a feeling. You can't ignore this feeling. You can't ignore this thought. You can't ignore this person. You can't ignore this job. No matter what, no matter how regular it looks, no matter how boring or blah it looks. It's not about what it looks like. It's about what it is. Feel it. Look beyond. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rihanna is coming out again and again. I don't want to read the descriptions. I just want to read their stories. I'm going to read you the story of Rihanna. Hold on. I take this very seriously because it's felt very important. Rihanna, inner strength. Don't give up now. You can do this. Yes, you might have been following this calling for a very long time. This might be something that you felt since you were a kid, but you've never been able to place it on anything. And then perhaps you run into something and it kind of gives you the resonance of this calling that you've always felt, this feeling that you've always had. But you're like, what are you? You know, you look at it and you're like, couldn't possibly be it. But it is it. Hold on. That's a nice dress.
Oh, thank you. I think the zipper got stuck. Can you help me take it out?
Yeah, but I'm doing a reading.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, but...
Like a person's reading?
No, a collective reading. Well, I'll pick a pile.
Oh, sorry. Is it coming out?
Oh, no, because the thing is stuck. Wait!
Oh. I may be able to take it off. Well, not quite.
Oh, well, let me just try. You're rushing it. It's just that the fabric is caught in the zipper thing. Okay. You want it off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rihanna. Rihanna is a Welsh lady of the other world, whose name means great queen. She features in medieval manuscripts called the Mabinogion. Rhiannon twice avoided arranged marriages and was falsely accused of murdering her own baby. Refusing to blame those who wronged her, she instead rose above adversity by taking command of her female power. Rhiannon worked from within an unjust social structure to improve her circumstances, rather than trying to escape it entirely. A goddess of strength and sovereignty, Rhiannon encourages us to heal the inner victim. Her many symbols include the moon, white mare, moonstones, and white flowers. And the only other one I'm going to read is Mary Magdalene. Okay, Mary Magdalene, sacred marriage. You are your own twin flame. Your spiritual wholeness leads to new experiences of intimacy and love. Mary Magdalene was the author of a gospel and chief apostle to the disciples. She has roots in Gnosticism, where she's worshipped as an aspect of the Holy Sophia. Her Ankh pendant signifies her role as priestess of the Egyptian goddess Isis. Mary holds the Shekinah flame, the feminine aspect of God. She presides over the twin flame union, a self-knowledge journey that brings higher consciousness to partnerships. And then the other card that you had, which was your Ogma card, which was your card for your pick a pile, and then the Dryad with protect your energy. Now, this is all I can do for your reading. You're cut short, but I don't think you're cut short. I think, in fact, that this is a part of it because your reading was so, like, you're on a journey and you already know, and it's really a matter of trusting. Okay, bye.